The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus entered a village where a woman whose name was Martha welcomed him. She had a sister named Mary who sat beside the Lord at his feet, listening to him speak. Martha, burdened with much serving, came to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me by myself to do the serving? Tell her to help me." The Lord said to her in reply, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and worried about many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Mary has chosen the better part, and it will not be taken from her. If we look at just this short gospel passage, we get one idea of the better part. This contrast is set up between Martha and Mary. Martha was the active one. Mary was more contemplative. Mary chose the better part, so the contemplative is better than the active. This passage, however, falls right after the parable of the Good Samaritan. If we look at it in that context, we get a different sense of the better part. The better part is to serve the needs of the other person, not your own needs. Last week we heard the parable of the Good Samaritan. A man was robbed, beaten, and left half dead. Two people passed by, saw the victim, but went by on the other side of the road. A Samaritan saw the victim and responded to his needs. Now, had this Samaritan acted like Mary in today's gospel, we'd have a very different story. He could have sat there at the feet of the injured man and listened to him. I don't think the Samaritan would have been held up as an ideal of service in that case. The injured man needed someone to act, and act quickly. To serve is to respond to the needs of the other person. True service is responding to the needs of the other person. Now, we may have to put aside our own preferences. There are things we like to do that become ways we like to serve. There are things we're good at that become ways we like to respond. There are customs we think we should adhere to, and we respond accordingly. These are our needs, not the needs of the other person. To truly serve is to respond to the needs of the other person, to put them first. We may have to do things that we prefer not to do and aren't very good at. We may have to push aside certain customs that we would like to hold on to. We may have to put aside plans we have, very important plans. This could be part of what St. Paul was talking about in adding our sufferings to those of Christ. The needs of the injured man were obvious. In today's gospel, Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem, and he needs someone to listen to him. This may be his last opportunity to teach these people. It may be his last opportunity to express this particular message. Mary may have wanted to put out a big feast. I mean, Jesus was an important person. We want to put out our best for him. We want to lay out the red carpet. But the better thing was to respond to his need. And his need was for someone to listen. This whole passage began with a scholar of the law asking Jesus what he needed to do to inherit eternal life. He answered his own question by saying, love God and love your neighbor. Maybe we could express it saying, love God by loving your neighbor. To love our neighbor is to serve. And to serve is to respond to the needs of the other person. That's the better part.